Hello class. I'd like to make a short video to help you with your Module 7 assignment, Report on Quality Improvement Project. This assignment is worth 225 points, which is a good portion of your grade. So I want to make sure that you are successful and give you this information to help you be successful. So what I'm going to do is go through the rubric, basically the requirements of the assignment, and then I am a great believer in seeing what one looks like. So I will share you a PowerPoint that describes a quality improvement project. So first of all, and probably one of the hardest things you're going to be doing is identifying where you are going to do this project or initiative. And if you are presently working in a healthcare situation, you may use that site. If you can go back to a previous clinical site that you had in your nursing education, that would be great. If you could find someone to interview there, that would be a good idea. You could talk to case manager, director of nurses, patient care manager, someone that could give you the information to complete this project. If you are unable to do the previous two that I mentioned, I would suggest that you could do a research on this topic as long as you meet the criteria and are able to gather all the information that falls under the rubric. So that is a last resort, but I also understand if you do not have access to a clinical site, I would allow that. So finding your initiative is going to be the first part of this project. Think about what you have seen in a clinical area that you saw taking place, that they did something to improve the quality of the care. And that's usually what these are based on. Something is identified as not working, and the institution then will do a project, do research, and evaluate it to see if it did really work or not. So the first thing you will be do is identifying that initiative. I'm going to just go through the rubric because I think it tells you the same thing, and really you need to meet all these criteria to get your 225 points. It is a PowerPoint presentation, and if you remember back in NUR 125, you did pretty much the same thing with a PowerPoint presentation, and you had to add notes. And I will show you what that looks like in the example I'm providing. But that is where your information is going to be. So remember, with a PowerPoint presentation, you highlight the important information and then explain it in the notes. So your first slide, it has to be, I'm sorry, let me get back to this, 5 to 7 slides. That does not include your title or your reference slide. So there are 6 topics to be covered within this area. So I would think you'd have a minimum of 6 slides. You may even have more to cover all this information. So your first slide is going to be about what you've identified. It is always good to have a slide or presentation with a background. White slides are okay, but a background really adds to it. And if you can add a few graphics where it's appropriate, that's always a nice idea to enhance a slide presentation. You can use clip art, there's nursing images that you can use for free. The next one is describe why this is taking place, what was the reasons for this, who are the stakeholders, what do we expect to happen after we institute this initiative, and if there's benchmarks, what are the benchmarks, what is the level of achievement, what research is done to support this project, and you need 2 scholarly resources that show, yes, this was a good idea. This is why this project was initiated. How was it done? How was it put into action? Who were the team members that were responsible for doing this? use the SWOT method. You look at the strength, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats to the project, the threats for success. And then what happened? Was it successful? Did it make a difference? If we did all these steps, would it improve the quality of care? What needs to be modified? And then a summary of your project, your personal experience with it, or your personal thoughts about it if you weren't actually involved. What are your thoughts? Do you think it was a good idea? Did it make sense? A summary of a conclusion of your project. I talked a little bit about the slides and the notes, and make sure that you follow rules of grammar. And again, you want your slides to be presentable so that they're easy to read and you're highlighting it. All right, here's an example of what it could look like. Remember, you be creative as possible. This is a nicely developed slide with a heading, a little graphic in here. The next slide is the introduction. It talks about the initiative, the goal, highlighting the information, and then down here explaining or giving more information about this criteria and the background. This one actually has 2 slides on backgrounds because there is so much information to be involved here. The next one is the research, why this was done, and then you can talk about, in this area, you could basically just highlight your 2 journal articles and then talk about why they were chosen and why you think this was a good project to do. The next one talks about the methods. How was this put into place? This is the SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities, threats, or what could be, what could not add or help to the project, the results, and the conclusion. Again, there's more information you can see at the bottom of the slide supporting the conclusion or how this worked. And your reference page. I'm not a big fan of this because it's a lot, it changes the font, it changes the look of the whole presentation. However, this would probably take about 3 or 4 slides to put on, so I understand why you would do this in a smaller font. Make sure this is an appropriate APA format. If you have any questions about that, you can go to the your Pages tab, and there's information on APA format and memory refreshers if you need that. All right, hopefully this answers your any questions about the project. If not, please post any questions to Questions for Instructor, because someone else may have that same question. I will try to make sure that I'm staying on top of that throughout the day. I usually check it once a day. I'll try to check it more than once a day if you do have any questions, so that you can be working on this throughout the week. And good luck.